Coming to us from my favorite news source as well as yours. Yep, Fox News. So apparently this guy on YouTube, I'll put a link to the story and his video in the description box below. You can go watch his whole video. His name is Clay Travis, and he's on a YouTube show or social media show called Outkick the Show. So apparently he says, in the story though, it says the COVID-19 virus has been deemed the greatest threat to our society by Democrats and activists of similar priority. Meanwhile, all-time high murder rates continue to claim the lives of Americans from all walks of life, young and old, white and black, poor and rich, Hispanic and Asian. Americans that have been paying attention since the George Floyd riots of 2020 understand, so they say, that driving police away from underprivileged neighborhoods, minority communities, in all areas of the nation was never destined to make them safer. Well, people aren't safe whether the police are there or whether the police aren't there. Did you know most law enforcement respond to crime? They respond to solve crimes. They don't really respond in most cases to stop a crime. They respond to solve the crime. I'll give you an example. Somebody robs a store. Most of the time when there's like a robbery in this area and I go to record it, the cops are investigating the robbery and the robbers are gone in their car and they drove off. So having the police there isn't going to necessarily make you safer. It's just that they can come out and solve the crime after it was done. I mean, you know how many times helicopters flying around looking for somebody because he slapped his wife, and when the police get there, the guy's out there somewhere in the city. Anyway, moving on. 1 year later, that's now, Americans are left with cities like Chicago and Oakland, San Antonio, you know, where people are getting shot down in the street over unsafe conditions caused by lack of policing. And the political activists that called for defunding are now letting the rest of American society take on the dangerous effects of their movement. And I'm reading you the story. Now on Thursday nights, that's just a couple days ago, on that episode of Outkick the Show, I put a link to it in the description box below. It's on YouTube. Clay Travis walks through the implications of new highs in murder rates and how the demonizing of police slowly opened up American streets for criminals and gangs to lay claim. Look, criminals and gangs have been laying claim to minority communities and low-income neighborhoods for years. Why do you think liquor stores are in the lower income part of the neighborhoods? You go to Beverly Hills or you go to Bel Air, California, do you see liquor stores in Beverly Hills? You see jewelry stores, clothing stores, rich restaurants. You don't see liquor stores. But you'll see them in lower income neighborhoods. Why is that? But gangs, getting back to gangs and criminals, man, they've been laying claim to neighborhoods for years. It's ain't nothing new. But Clay Travis asks, why did the murder rate in 2020 suddenly skyrocket? It's because we allowed people to attack the police and try to send a message that police were the problem in this country, even though police solve and save and protect people who are white, black, Asian, or Hispanic at unbelievable rates. I won't even say that the police are the problem in the country, but I will say this, that cops are getting to the point now where they know that if I do anything I want, nothing's going to happen to me. Even if I do get to a point where they want to fire me, I'll just resign and go to the neighboring police station. Apply there. They'll hire me because I have experience. It's kind of like that's the attitude of some law enforcement officers now. But I don't believe that, the police are necessarily the problem in the country, but there are police officers who are a problem in this country. It's like school teachers. School teachers aren't a problem in this country, but there are school teachers who are a problem. Same way with police. There are law enforcement officers out there who are a problem. And we have to deal with it. We have to expose them and try to, make sure that cities and city councils and so forth get these guys out of the area. He goes on, if you demonize police, they move out. They don't work as hard. They don't pursue justice as aggressively. They don't police anywhere near the same level. Then the criminal element moves in and violence, crime skyrockets, particularly murder. That's what he says. I don't believe that's necessarily true. I don't think the cops are going to work any harder or any easier based on what we say. But he goes on, there's a couple more paragraphs I'm not going to go over, but he goes on talking about how defunding and ousting the police now produces a tragic loss of security for America. Well, like he said, we're about as safe with the police there as we are without the police there. I mean, the reality is the defund the police people don't actually care because they're arguing politics, is what he says. And then he talks about how we saw this in 2016 with Ferguson. Remember Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot. And he said we saw it happen nationwide in 2020. That was last year when the whole country went to freaking protest. What was I going to say? I don't think people are, any safer. What I was going to say is, I don't think we're safer with the police here or without the police there. I guess I don't believe the police presence can make it a whole lot safer for Americans than we already are. I'm not making sense here. My bird is over here just going nuts. If you can hear her, you probably can. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, what I was going to say is, because we have a Facebook group here locally, and I've heard, or I've read where people put on the group, waiting for the cops for an hour now to do a report. I've read that in there where sometimes people wait an hour or more for the cops to show up. So I don't believe that having the police in the area is going to make us any safer. I just think it means that they can respond and solve the crime a little faster. Maybe. What do you all think? Let me know.